It's strength in finding resilience beyond your circumstances. What is up, you guys? I'm Zakia Monet, and welcome to the Finding Your Way podcast, where we share stories about hardships and share ways to not let our circumstances define us. Like you, we just here to find our way. What's up, you guys? My name is Zakia. I go by Zakia Monet on all social media platforms. Welcome to another episode of Finding Her Way. This is episode 5. Episode 5, and let's get into it. Our journal entry for today will be describe. What is it? This journal entry will be describe your spiritual journey, or where you are in your spiritual journey. For me, I can honestly say, and your spiritual journey doesn't have to be, who you pray to and things of that nature. It can be, where are you in your, what part of life are you in right now? What season are you in right now? Are you in a self-care, taking care of yourself? Are you in a serving season of your life? Things like that. In my spiritual journey, I'm just on a journey of learning God and learning who Christ is. Learning what his promises are, learning about the different stories in the Bible, learning, just learning and connecting. I feel like ultimately I'm in a season of just learning who I am and learning my purpose and learning how can I serve in a way that pleases God and it appeases him. I think that's what my season is. I know it's taking me a long time now to, get my thoughts together, but I think like ultimately that's the era I'm in my spiritual journey and what that looks like for me. It may not look like the same thing for you. That's why I want to know, describe your spiritual journey and where you are in your spiritual journey. And that, like I said, it doesn't have to be, who you pray to. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Or you can just talk about your seat. Like, what season do you feel like you're in? What season is this for you? Are you, like I said, are you in a self-care season? Are you in a serving season? What does that look like for you? And right now, I feel like I'm just trying to learn how to serve in a way that appeases God. So that's our script. That's our little journal entry for today. You can write that down in the comments. You can write it down to yourself. You can say it to yourself. Just a little food for thought thing. So let's get into this episode. I feel like I'm just more so frustrated with the journey and frustrated with the lesson in all of this. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, what do you want me to do? Who am I supposed to be serving? Who do you want me to connect with? What are these things coming up from? Like, why are these things coming up for me so much now than it was a couple years ago when I was going through these things? And it's just, as I dig deeper into therapy and learning more about me and how I navigate different things and how things come up for me, it's just a constant battle of questionings and being frustrated all the time and trying to figure out why, when you're not supposed to be figuring out why these things happening, why you're going through what you're going through, or like what is the purpose, like what is the reason. But I just want to, I think for me it was just like trying to understand me, if that makes sense, like trying to understand why these things come up the way they do for me. Like, I just had a conversation with my therapist, and like I said, a lot of these things are just now coming out for me because I don't speak on them. Like, they happen and then I just move on, or it's just like, it's almost like it never happened, or it's like it happened but it is what it is. And so, like, recently, this might be a trigger for some people, but I didn't realize how sexual I was. I realized, like, for me, sometimes, like, sex can be a stress reliever for me, or like stress stress was like a thing that I did. I realized sex was something that I did to keep my mind off of shit that was going on with me. And so in that, when I'm having this conversation with my therapist, we took it all the way back. And we took it back to a particular time and moment in my life where I didn't even realize it would be a thing. So I was exposed to sex at a young age, a very young age, the age of 12. I know, don't tussle with me, like don't. In my mind, it was like, okay, this man, like, he liked me, or this boy liked me. I say man because he was 19, 20 at the time, and I'm 12. So like, if like now looking at it, I'm like, girl, what the was you doing? Like, you wouldn't want your kid to do nothing like that. So like, anyway, in my mind at that age, it was like, you know, a boy like me, he thinks I look like something, you know, it is what it is. But at that age, I'm a shapely woman now, but I was really like, I was, you know, I had some stuff going on. I was, you know, if you know what I know, like, you know what I'm saying, do you know what I mean? So like, at that age, at a young age, like, you look in your eye, in like some men's eyes, you're a woman. If you have like a little shape on you, at that age, you're already a woman or whatever. No matter what age you are, they look at you like you meet. You're already a woman to them. So me at that age thinking like, you know, it's consensual, but actually like that's really like that's not okay. Like, that's not okay. And like, in us talking about that and how that shows up for me, and like going through different things that I've been through since that happened, it's just like, girl, like how things are coming up for me now, it's just so eye-opening. And like, in that, I just become so frustrated because it's just like, what is going on? Like, what is going on with you? Why do you do the things you do? Why are you like, I don't know. I think I'm just struggling. I'm struggling with my path, I think. And I'm struggling with trying to figure out what it is that I need to be doing, like where I need to be at, who I need to be doing it for. I'm just struggling with that whole thing. And in that, it just caused me to be so frustrated with God, because it's just like, I keep going through these different, like every other month or every other week, I'm going through this episode where I'm just having an episode where I'm just so down. Like, I'm just so down. My mind is fighting with my heart. My heart is like just so emotional. My mind is just everywhere, and we're just having this tug of war trying to figure out like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is going on? You need to get up, but I can't. Like, it's just like, I'm just in this season where I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out me. I'm just trying to figure out me. I'm trying to point out my triggers, point out like why I react the way I react to certain things, and like why I do the things that I do. And it's just been this ongoing battle. I feel like I'm honestly in a spiritual warfare. I feel like I have a calling on my life now that I'm the age that I am at. I feel like I went through all these things that I've been through because I do have a calling on my life, but I don't know what that is sometimes. And it's just like, I'm just trying to figure that out. And in trying to figure it out, I'm having to relive certain things. And in reliving certain things, it's just bringing up a lot of emotions for me, and a lot of frustrations and a lot of negativity, because I'm just so frustrated. And like, why did I have to go through any of that? And I feel that way because I feel like I'm pouring, like, I feel like I can't be the parent that I need to be because I'm feeling all of these things. Like, you can, of course, like, I get up, I do everything I'm supposed to do as a mom. I make sure my son is good, you know, in all aspects of life. But I don't feel like I'm as attentive as I should be because I'm trying to sort out my shit. And it's just like, I know everybody's path is not the same. Everybody's path is going to be different. But comparison is the thief of joy. When I tell you that quote or that statement is so true, you cannot compare your day 1 to someone's day 100. You just can't do that. You don't know what that person's been through. You don't know any of that. So I think I look at people that, or you can't even judge a book by its cover. You can't even look at somebody and think like, okay, like they got their shit together, like they doing what they supposed to be doing. Like you can see, sometimes with certain people, you can see the glow that God has on them. And I feel like for me, that was a struggle for me for a long time, because it's just like I'm just looking at somebody else's glow, and I just feel like I'm just in a complete darkness. Like I'm in so much darkness, and it's just like I can't see the sun, I can't see the rainbow, I can't see the end of the tunnel. Like I don't see none of that for myself while I'm in those moments, or while I'm in those emotional states. I just think it's so hard being a human being, period. It's so hard being a human being. It's so hard being an adult. It's so hard being a child. I feel like we go through all of these things through life, and then sometimes it just feels like, for what? Like, what am I going through all these things for? Like, you have people telling you what you are and what you ain't. You got people telling you how bad of a mother you are. You got people telling you how bad of a person you are. People inserting themselves in your life in things that they shouldn't have, like, in things that they shouldn't even, have any conversation to, like, they shouldn't even be speaking on, for real. And it's just like you're going through all these different things. You got stuff constantly being thrown at you. You constantly digging. It's constantly something. It's constantly something. And it's just like you're trying to fight these different things, and it doesn't feel like you're gonna ever get out of it. Honestly, it doesn't feel like you're gonna ever get out of it. And I think that's where that's where all of my frustrations come in, and then it just be like, well, what am I going through this for? What is the reason? What is the reason? So I'm just struggling. Like every other week, I'm struggling with something new, and I know my therapist just be like, "Girl, like, what is it?" But she's just been so great in helping me navigate like what everything means for me and how things show up for me. Like she's been so amazing with that. But it's just like I feel like I have such a long journey ahead of me. I feel like eventually I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to navigate these different things. We're going to excel and go beyond of what somebody said that we would do. We're not listening to what anybody has to say. We're not taking on anybody else's emotions. We're not taking on anybody else's, feelings that they have about us. We're not taking that on. For me, I'm learning that I went through what I've been through for a reason. A lot of that may come up, a lot of that may not. I'm still struggling with learning what to share and what not to share, because it's just, like I said, like I haven't dealt with a lot of these things in so long, if ever. Like when they happen, they just happen, and I just go about my life like nothing ever happened. So it's still a struggle for me. Honestly, it's still a struggle for me. So I'm just I'm just still learning, I guess. I'm still learning that God is in control and everything is happening for a reason. I'm learning that everything is happening for a reason, and everything is happening for me, not to me. And I think I'm just learning not to take everything so personally. And being an emotional person, it's hard to not take everything so personal when it's happening to you, especially in that moment, because it's just like, damn, like, what the fuck is going on? I'm trying to stop cussing, y'all. I promise I'm trying to stop cussing. But it's just like, but I don't know. It's just been a frustrating season for me. It's just been a frustrating season in trying to navigate and learn who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing and what I'm on this earth to do. Because I know I'm not just on this earth to be a mom. I know that's not it. Although sometimes I feel like that's it. Like with the things, like with everything that comes up with my child, it just feels like I'm just put on this earth to just be a mom. But I know that's ultimately not the end all be all for me. I'm not just here to be a mom. I feel like I'm here to serve, but I'm trying to figure out what that looks like for me. And sometimes you're not even supposed to know what that looks like. I think you're just supposed to do whatever comes to mind, or whatever you feel like you should be doing, and whatever feels right is what you should be doing. But I think even for me, that's kind of difficult because I want to be doing everything, or I feel like I struggle with learning how to do everything, and it's just always a thing. So I don't know. I think your 20s, in your 20s, you're supposed to be, I'm not going to say what you're supposed to be doing because it looks different for everybody. Some people's 20s are for fun, and they use their 30s to build their life, and then some people use their 20s as a building thing, a building instruction, and the 30s they use it as a living life kind of experience kind of thing. So I think for me, I'm just building my foundation for my 30s, and in building my foundation, I have to rebuild. I have to tear everything down that I learned, and I have to rebuild new. Like, I have to have a whole new infrastructure. I have to start from ground zero. I have to start from baby's IKEA. Like, I have to start from that. And what does that look like for me? And where did everything start to go wrong for me? You know, if that makes sense. So I think that's just where I'm at with it. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what does this new infrastructure look like for me? Sometimes I think I know what it looks like, and sometimes I'm just like in bed at night just trying to figure out life, and just trying to figure out my tribe and my people, and who's who, and who I need to keep around, who I need to let go, and all of that being a thing. And it's hard. It could be hard. It could be so hard. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not all over the place with this episode, but I just want to have a conversation. I think I'm just using this episode as a thing, like a venting episode, because like I know it's everywhere, but I hope you get the gist of what I'm saying and where I'm trying to go with this and what I mean. Because this journey, like, your journey won't always be a straight and narrow path. Your journey is not gonna be easy. It doesn't look like a certain thing. It doesn't look like how theirs look like. It doesn't look like that. It's gonna be your journey, and it's gonna be some curves, and it's gonna be some turns, and some loops. You're gonna even go backwards a couple times. You're gonna either go backwards a couple times. I know that was the thing for me. I went backwards a couple times, whether it was going back to a person I shouldn't have been going back to, whether it was rekindling a friendship I shouldn't have been going back to, whether it was opening old wounds and staying in there and sucking in it, whether it was like, you know, all those things, all those things, you know. But I don't think we're meant to understand it. I think we're meant to just go through life and use the tools that we have to navigate, whatever that looks like for you. You know, whatever those tools look like for you, whether it's therapy, whether it's talking to God, whether it's just journaling, whether it's just traveling and learning yourself all over again, whether it's just, you know, taking a year off and doing the work, doing the groundwork. No distractions, no people, no nothing, just you doing the work on you. So that's where I think I'm at with it. You're not meant to understand, and I'm growing less and less every day, being frustrated with God. I'm just learning how to appreciate life and appreciate what He has done for me, and appreciate where He has brought me, and appreciate where I am. And sometimes we take that for granted. We take Him waking us up every day for granted. We take the things that He's brought us from for granted. Like, we're thinking that like, for me, in that moment, I'm thinking like, why? And then when I'm out of it, it's just like, why not? You know? Like, when I actually think about it now, it's just like, why not me? Like, why not me? Maybe a new face was needed to talk about maybe a new face was needed to talk about certain topics and certain situations, you know? So I'm trying to think about it on a positive note, and not like so deeply into it to where it's like a negative, it has a negative impact on me. So I'm trying to keep the positive going. I'm trying to keep the positive going. I'm trying to keep the positive going. So that's the kind of, that's just the road I'm gonna take. I'm gonna stick with it. It's not gonna be easy. I know I'm gonna still have my days where it's just like, like what the fuck is this? Like what is this? I know I'm gonna have those days. So I have to keep that in mind. I know in serving for God, and I know in like every day won't be a good day. Every day is not going to be a good day, but his promises are his promises. He promises that you're going to have some good things happening to you. You're going to get what you desire if you have faith, and if you believe, actually believe and not fake believe. You have to actually do the work. Like, those are his promises. He promises good days for us, but he doesn't say you're not going to have good days, you're not going to have bad days, but he does make promises that you will have joy, like you will love, you will have all these things that you want and desire in life. You will have those things. So I have to keep that in mind and keep that in mind and go through every day with that in mind. So some things that I have to put in place is, pray more in the morning before I get on my phone, and before I start searching different things, or before I go in my notes and do all this other stuff. I have to start grounding myself in prayer every morning. That's something I have to work on. It's something I have to do in order for me not to be, so deep into thought of the bad things and, thinking about the negative things in that light. So those are a couple things that I know that I have to do and work on. I think it's completely normal to go through these seasons where you're like trying to figure out, what are you going through these things for? Like, what does this mean for me? And it's not like you're questioning God, but you're trying to have like a real conversation. Like, what does this mean? Why am I going through this? Like, what were you thinking? What was you thinking when you did it? Like, what was you thinking when you did it? So I'm just trying to, although like I'm at a place where I feel like sometimes I can get what he's saying or what he's doing in my life, I still have those moments where I'm just like, come on, dog. Now, what you do that for? Like, what you do that for? I think that's okay. And that's okay. That is totally okay. You're building your relationship with God. Like, I have to understand that I'm building a rapport with him. I'm building a relationship with him. I'm trying to, we're trying to get to the nitty gritty of, what is going on and how I can heal and how we can heal and how we can move forward and build our relationship to this, to where it's like, I do feel more and more comfortable in this journey, in this season, in my walk with God. So I think, I'm just trying to get to a point where, not completely, I guess, understand, but not really. I think I'm just trying to get to a point where I'm at peace with everything, and I'm at peace with how everything went, and I'm able to forgive, and I'm able to, let go of certain things, and not let everything trigger me into a way that I'm just so rah-rah. So I think that's ultimately my goal. That's ultimately my goal, is to just that's ultimately my goal, is to just get to a place where I'm not so intense. So yeah, I think that's just the gist. I also feel like now, as I get older, I feel like I put myself in a lot of situations to where I didn't even have to put myself. So it's just God was teaching me a lesson. You don't put, I'm telling a child not to touch that hot iron, but they're going to touch that hot iron anyway. So you fuck around and find out. So I've been fucking around and finding out a lot of shit, and it's just, I put myself in a lot of situations, and I have to take accountability for that, and I have to own that, and knowing like a lot of these things were lessons. Like, you did that, so now I'm gonna do this. You did that, so now I'm gonna show you like the repercussions of why you like of what you did. And so I'm just like, I have to understand that as well. And at this big age, it's just like you have to take accountability. You have to take accountability. So we're just figuring some things out. We're just figuring some things out. I'm just trying not to be to a point where I'm not angry. I don't want to be angry anymore, and I feel like how my anger shows up is not healthy. It's not in a good way. When I'm angry as a parent, I can admit this. I lash out, and like it. I just like I don't feel like any kid deserves that. No kid deserves like you want through one thing, but you want to take it out on your kid. That's not okay. That's why it's so important to work on your shit. It's so important to get yourself together. It's so important to work on your relationship with God, because in order for you to work on your relationship with God, in order for you to be a better parent and a better woman, you have to work on your relationship with God, because that's going to show you, that's going to give you the tools how to be a great woman, how to be a great mom. So we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. So this is going to be a 2-part episode, because I feel like I still have some things to touch on. So this is going to be a 2-part episode, because I feel like I still have some. So this is going to be a 2-part episode, because I feel like I still have some things that I can touch on, or that I need to talk about. I don't feel like this was all talked about I don't think this can all be talked about in one setting without it being a long episode. I know people ain't checking for that right now. So we're gonna make it to a 2-part episode. To close out, I'm gonna end it how we always end it, with advice on finding her way. In this episode, I would say, I probably already said this before, but I'm gonna say it every time. Give yourself some grace. Like, give yourself some grace. Like, you're gonna go through shit. Life is not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be peaches and cream every day. It's not gonna, like, you're gonna go through shit. You're gonna have, like, things are gonna come up. Things are gonna happen. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what you do when things happen is up to you. How you handle it, how you take it, how you move from there, is all up to you. So give yourself some grace. Show up with love. Move in love. And that's all I gotta say. You can send questions or advice letters to You can send advice letters or questions to our email at askfhwpod@gmail.com. We'll answer those here on the pod. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed and took at least one thing, if any, from this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share us with a friend you know. Follow us on Instagram at Finding Her Way Pod, and send us letters or questions to askfhw@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you in the next episode.